The journey, South Central Los Angeles, North Tulsa, Oklahoma. That is where I grew up. That is where I've had my experiences. Doing this video, why am I a mentor? Why are people mentors? A little bit about myself in that journey. I started from Los Angeles in the jungle. I grew up in the jungle. The jungle today is different than the jungle back then. Los Angeles back then is different than Los Angeles today. I grew up in a single parent household with a sister, younger sister, mother, grandmother, great grandmother, no males, no men, no father figure. And I grew up in Watts. School in Watts, go back and forth to LA. Really didn't have a lot of stability. And when my father was in the picture and my stepfather was in the picture, it was always constant verbal abuse toward my mother. And at that point in my life, I understood being a young man as being violent. Being a black man, I felt it was violent until I got much older and understood the truth. And in a sense, I recognized that I didn't understand where I belonged. So one day, my grandfather came from Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, with the Cowboys and Indians. And he took us to Oklahoma, and my mom would say, we're gonna have a great life. We're gonna start all over. And I remember the first thing that the kids would say to me is, why you talk so different? And honestly, I really didn't think I talked different. And one of the things about kids when they make transitions, no matter where you are geographically, is other kids recognize the difference in what you are and who you are. And from there, one of the things I discovered is that my grandmother was in the drug game. And it kind of blew my mind. And so marijuana, crack cocaine, heroin, you name it, she sold it. And I would say to her, and I called her Mama Lorraine, Mama Lorraine, you know, I go to school today and they say they know the drugs. And my grandmother would go, listen, I put food on the table and I make things happen. Don't judge me until you've been in my footsteps, been in my shoes. And I had a problem with that for a long time because school districts make a lot of big deal about drugs. And I grew up in a system where I never saw any males grab hold to me. I never saw any mentorship. I never saw any positiveness. I went from South Central LA to North Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I never saw anybody grab me. I never saw anybody grab hold to me. I saw my grandmother do what she did. I saw my great-grandmother scrub floors. I saw my mom being depressed and did the best she could. I saw my aunt being a prostitute and get on drugs. And I just felt that there was no hope. So I went into the military. And one thing when you go into the military is dominated by a male system. So because I never had male figures, I remember my first duty assignment. Not even a drill sergeant, my first sergeant got kind of rowdy with me and he spit on me. And I said, I'm about to go to jail. And I almost went to jail. Because where I'm from, you don't violate my space. And I really had issues with males telling me anything if they didn't come soft or they didn't come correct, because a lot of the females that raised me were soft, except my grandmother. So my grandmother didn't have a lot of respect for men. Therefore, I said, I'm not going to have any respect for men. I went from there to the Army, and I had a lot of issues in the Army, but I was a very good combat soldier because I was angry. So I didn't really care about life or death or whatever. I engaged in some things I shouldn't have. And when I got out, the thing about my unique mentorship story is that I got approached by gang affiliators. And I was a part of the largest Crip gang affiliation in Los Angeles. And they didn't want me to sell drugs. They didn't want me to really gang bang. I wasn't in it for that. Even though my hands and feet were registered, They wanted me to do protection because I had no record. I had a top secret clearance. And from there, my friends actually were drug dealers because I felt it was all right since my grandmother did it. So I fell prey to a lot of victimization in my own mind because I felt it was the right thing to do. I couldn't get a job based on me being a veteran. So I said, well, heck, let's do it. And one thing that I noticed as I grew up is there's no honor among thieves. And so I was always among thieves. I was always around murderers. And my mentality was kill or be killed. Until one day I actually was going down the street in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I saw some praying hands, and I saw this university, Oral Roberts University, and I was so curious that I applied. And when I applied, they laughed at me. It was like, really? You're applying with D's and some F's? Really? I didn't understand the educational system. I didn't understand the structure. And so what I did, I took the advice of the lady and went to a JUCO and got a little couple classes here. I think the lady felt sorry for me. But I actually got in on probation. And when I got in probation, it was opened up another world for me because I saw different types of people, not racially, not ethnicity, but mindsets. And so I started the college role. I got married, and that in itself was a whole different culture because I didn't even know how to treat a wife. I didn't even know how to treat my children as I began to have children. So there was a lot of confusion, connectivity, and what I'm supposed to do, what I am doing, and what I'm going to visualize myself in becoming. And so from there, I began to get deeply into school and the educational system. And so I achieved 3 master's degrees, most of the hardest thing I ever did in my life, and became a doctoral student. I began to understand the structure of what my dad, when he was in the picture, tried to teach me. And he taught me like this. There was times that he would put guns to my head and say, click, click. And I would go, oh my God, what are you doing? So I want to show you how to be a man and have no fear. He put knives to my throat and said, what would you do in this situation if it was between me and you? And I would say, Dad, I love you. I would never hurt you. And he would say, self-preservation is the #1 rule. If you have to kill me to survive, that's what you need to do. I was so confused. I remember the last straw being in LA. I was 14 years old, and I decided, hey, I think I'm gonna live with my dad and just stay in South Central LA. That's when I knocked on the door one day and he had 2 prostitutes. And I said, what in the world am I supposed to do with this? They were full-figured women. I was a little scrawny guy, scared me to death. It made me have chills all the way from my head down to my very feet. And I realized right then that, I don't know, this is uncomfortable. It didn't feel good. And I remember my reaction. I guess it embarrassed him. And I remember running out the door and him hit me in my stomach and I threw up everywhere. And I realized at that point that this is not the place for me. So I went back and I did what I had to do. And I went through struggles. The journey has been very, very hard. Understanding the educational school system, understanding marriage, understanding raising of the kids, understanding what is your place as a male. I don't think race has anything to do with it. I believe it has to do with where you are in life and where you are as a man. Now, when you add an ethnicity to the component, it gets a little deeper. It gets a little, wow, where is my place now as a black male, as a Hispanic male, as a Filipino male? So I speak on those lines of being a multicultural mental health professional because I see all kids through the rainbow that need mentorship. Mentorship is the key. Success is the key. The mentality is the key. Love is the key.